Welcome everyone to the Sci-Fi Queens podcast, where we celebrate all things sci-fi, especially the women in sci-fi, real women in science. We celebrate upcoming women in science, sci-fi book authors and comics. And we also let you know what's coming up next on Sci Fi TV. If you're new to our channel, we welcome you and we ask that you hit that subscribe and notification bell. We really would appreciate it. If you want to support our channel, just go to our website, sci-fi-queens.net. It's scrolling at the bottom of the page. You're going to find information on the queens, information on our episodes, and a link to our merch store as well. Tonight, we got a special episode for you guys. I am your host, Nita, and tonight joining me is the Queen of Darkness herself, Sarah, and the Queen of the Nerds, Tiffany, and our very special guest, Queen of the Games, Ariel. Welcome everyone tonight. And how is Ariel doing? Let's check in before we start.
I'm great. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you are most welcome. Sarah, what's going on with you tonight?
I'm a little chilly, and Chewy's a little barky. So let's check in with Tiffany.
Tiffany, what's going on with you? How is everything going on?
Everything is good. I actually got surprise flowers today for Mother's Day, so it's going to be good.
That's right. I am so glad you mentioned Mother's Day because this episode is dedicated to all the sci-fi moms. But before we start, happy Mother's Day weekend to all the moms out there, whether you are a mom of a little kiddo or a mom of a pet, that is still a mom to me. So this is your weekend. Happy Mother's Day. And we're going to start we're going to jump into it. We're going to start with animation because that's how we nerd out in this place here, right? Mm-hmm. And this is Ariel's choice. So Ariel, talk to me about Electric Girl. Awesome mom, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Elastigirl, voiced by Holly Hunter. Her civilian name is Helen Parr. She is one of my favorite moms ever. I first saw her when I was like a little girl, and I was like, The Incredibles are awesome. I just love her. I think that she's an icon. She's curvy, okay? So for the you know what I'm saying? Like, she got curves for days. And yeah, I just love her. I can't she's sharp, she's multi-skilled, she could pilot a plane. She could take care of the family. Right? Imagine taking care of 3 kids and your youngest kid is he has all the superpowers ever, but she just keeps it together. I love her. Love her.
Oh, absolutely. Tiffany, what's your thoughts on this beautiful, iconic mom, Elastigirl?
For me, Elastigirl, when I first saw The Incredibles, I was like a little kid. I know I'm young, y'all. I'm like a little kid. And so for me, she was like a super mom. Of course, she had everybody in line, even Mr. Incredible. Everybody was following her letter of the law. If she said they weren't gonna do it and they did it, they were in trouble. And she was gonna find out. She's gonna find out. So like all of us moms, she got eyes behind her head.
Okay. I gotta agree. Moms had a special superpower of knowing what you did before you thought about doing it. Sarah, what's your Queen of Darkness input on this issue? Bring it, girl.
I think that she is. I think she kind of represents, not just she's an amazing mom, how she is, but I think that her character portrays the flexibility of being a mom. Excuse me. Because you kind of have to have your, multiple plates going, and like that circus act where they're spinning plates on sticks, and you got to keep them all balanced. That's kind of what I see her doing with with her 3 kids. They all have superpowers. Her husband's sneaking off to do superhero shit, and trying to keep it all balanced and maintain the home. I mean, it is hard because I mean, I just have one kid and a dog, and it's hard trying to keep up sometimes here. I couldn't even imagine if, Leah had superpowers. Oh, Jesus. Woo!
Well, Leah is my superhero, so she got superpowers. I know she
Okay.
does. She's just keeping them secret from you. But let me
Oh,
tell you
God.
guys, don't try to keep secrets from moms. They always find out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
Yeah.
There is nothing they won't know that you've done or you about to do. And you just gonna get yourself caught out there, you know? And I love the fact that she knew what her husband was doing, she knew what her
Hmm.
kids were doing, and she managed it with, and they wrote her character. And I know she's animation, but they wrote her character with such grace.
Mhm.
And she didn't try to be a super mom. She was just balancing her life. That's how I saw her. And I
Hmm.
love that they made her curvy. This mom of three kids, married for all these years. It fit the image of what was happening. And I love that for her. Absolutely. I love that she just called it out. You could not get away with it because she will call you out on it. And I loved that he tried so hard to hide that he was doing the superhero stuff,
Hmm.
and
You
it
know,
wasn't working.
you
She
can't get nothing
absolutely
past
knew.
her. Nothing past
Mm-mm.
Helen.
No. Oh
Mm-mm.
no, absolutely not. She is, and I love the voice actors that they chose for this
Hmm.
character. I think they do such an exquisite job. It's not easy to project your voice and even like get a different accent or tone that you don't do every day for these characters and really show the feelings and emotions that are being written in this animation. And I think also the artists need to be commended because I think the animation was excellent. It
Oh
truly
yeah.
was.
And it still holds
Absolutely.
up. It still holds up.
Oh
It
yeah.
stood the test of time. The animation. One last thing I'd like to bring up
Oh
about
sure.
Elastigirl is
Hmm.
that before she met Bob and she had the kids, she was very much a feminist. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this kind of superhero world with a lot of men. And she was just like, I'm gonna make my own. And then of course, the anti-super law came in, so they had to kind of go in hiding. But I just love that, like, that never really left her. She just made more of an adjustment, like y'all
Yeah.
said earlier. So yeah, love her
Oh yeah,
down.
I think she was able to adjust to that change better than her husband was.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I think it destroyed him emotionally. Like he was like, "I'm a superhero. I need to do
Hey,
superhero shit."
Bob was at
And
that radio like a
he,
drug.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that she was able to know that her identity didn't lie just on her abilities.
Mhm.
And I think that that's something that I think moms struggle with, where no, you're not just a mom, you're not just an employee or a career woman. You are so many things, and all those things contribute to the awesomeness that are moms.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we got this other mom. She raised the
Oh,
king.
Yes.
What? She raised the king, people. Ariel, this was your choice. Talk to me about why you chose her and talk to me about her.
I mean, how can I not? First of all, Queen Ramunda, she is played by the iconic Angela Bassett. I don't have
Yes.
any memory of mine that doesn't include Angela Bassett. I've been watching her since I came out of my own mother's womb. But she is the queen of Wakanda, famously from Black
Yes.
Panther, from the Marvel Universe. She's the mother of T'Challa, rest in peace, and Shuri. And
Hmm.
I chose her because, she was not only played by an icon, but she is an icon. I think a lot of the draw for me was the costuming. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like maybe Angela Carter or Ruth Carter, I think, was the costume designer for Black Panther. So it's just the costuming,
Phenomenal
like,
job they did with
yeah, like
all
the
the
dress,
costumes.
it commands royalty, it commands
Hmm.
respect. But
Yeah,
yeah, I just love this character. She's
yeah.
a devoted mother, she was a devoted wife.
Yeah.
before her husband passed, and she believes in her people and the culture. Like
Mhm.
there's kind of like some ceremonies and rituals, and
Mhm.
she's very true to it. And obviously raised the Black Panther, so it's like, how can you not be an icon for that? But yeah.
Exactly, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I think she's just amazing.
Mhm.
Angela Bassett has never done anything that I did not love. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right?
she is one of the world's underrated and under awarded actresses. She should have every award that's out there should be
Right?
hers. She's beautiful, she's intelligent, she's articulate, and she can just take any character and embody it. When she did Tina Turner, you
Woo.
Mhm.
believed she was Tina.
Tina Turner, yes,
When
yes.
she went to get her groove back, you'd believe she was getting that groove back. I mean, she makes you believe in the character, and she
Yeah.
did no less here. Queen of the Nurse, Tiffany, talk to me about this beautiful woman.
She is one of the mothers of Black Hollywood. She was
Hello.
the mother to the Jackson Five. The Black Panthers mom. She was Violet Wallace in the Notorious movie. Like she is one of the mothers of Black Hollywood, and
Yeah.
so to see her in this role, I think it was like somewhere she was meant to be. Like being a
Hmm.
queen, being regal, being loyal to her people, showing that, she was going to stand with them because they were all her children. She was the queen. She was going to
Yes.
stand with them, over. And also, I think I like that they didn't, I wasn't mad that they never gave T'Challa a queen. Like she was always the queen. And
Mhm.
so for
Yes.
me, for everybody, she is the queen. And so
Hmm.
I think that's just her being so fiercely protective of the Wakandans. And it was the perfect role for Angela Bassett because she got to really shine in that role and really, do things
Oh,
that couldn't happen to her.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
I gotta correct you though, Tiffany. They did ask me to be T'Challa's queen, but I was like, brother, come on now. You know I can't play that role like that. That's too big a role for me. This
You're like, I
queen can't
can't
be
do
your
it.
queen.
I can't
It's
do
too.
it.
I can't do it. I mean, I'll be your queen, but not in the movie. It's too
Let's
much.
not
Too much
record.
Hollywood.
Let's not
Yeah,
record
it's not. I
it.
can't
Okay.
be in the paparazzi like that, you know?
Can't have it. Can't have it.
I was going there. God rest his soul, but that man was beautiful.
Yeah,
Yes,
he
he
was.
was. Yes, he was. Yes, he
Sarah, talk
was.
to me about this queen because I know the Queen of Darkness got some things to say.
I've watched her for a long time, and I like Angela Bassett. I've always liked her. I don't think I've seen her in a role that I didn't like. And like Tiffany said, she played so many roles where she was a mother that this just seemed like the perfect fit. And that,
Mhm.
she's very beautiful and regal as a human, and then putting her in this role, it just kind of felt natural. It wasn't, like sometimes when people act in roles and portray things, it kind of feels stilted and not like
Yes.
and not the ick, but it doesn't just quite fit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Mhm.
for her, it was very smooth and it was a perfect fit, and I think she did a wonderful job. And I liked this character. I wish we would have gotten more of her, but I do understand um, they had to advance the story, and tragedy strikes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing her more in Hollywood too. Hopefully,
Mhm.
you know.
Isn't there a new, I mean, Tiffany will probably know this best. Isn't there coming out with another Wakanda movie, a Black Panther movie? I think
Yeah.
it's with Will Smith. It's going to be in
Right.
it, right?
Uh,
Oh.
I think that trailer might be like a AI one.
No, they played
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
They played
But
me.
Denzel Washington is gonna be in the next Black Panther movie.
I'll be
Confirmed.
his queen too.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
his
he's
queen
confirmed.
too.
So we don't know what he's gonna play, but he has confirmed. He like
Woo!
leaked it. Like nobody's supposed to know, but he was like giving an interview and he just like said it. And then so now everybody knows.
Right.
But yeah,
Mr.
he just said
Washington, I will be your queen. Just call
it.
me, call me.
It would be great about him.
For
I
real.
mean, that
For
is
real.
one of the most beautiful movies that is out
Mm,
there. It truly is beautiful.
yeah.
It has such a iconic and wonderful cast, and it really elevates African American culture and African
Hmm.
culture because you
Hmm.
see it in the outfits, you see it in the dancing and the movements and
Yeah.
the fighting style. You
The
see that
culture.
African influence,
Hmm.
yes, and it elevates it, right? Because we're
Hmm.
so used to seeing a certain type of way
Hmm.
that isn't
Yeah.
necessarily the way it's supposed to be or it
Yeah.
is. And we
Yeah.
see this and it is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
It's
I give you a little aside about the first book, the first Black Panther? Um, I just saw a thing this week, and it was an interview with Chadwick, and he was talking about when in the scene when he's talking privately with his dad, and
mhm.
the director had them speaking English, and he's like, "Why are we speaking English? If we're African, shouldn't we be speaking our dialect?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, I suppose." So then, you know, they start, the guy that played his dad spoke his own dialect, and Chadwick answered him in his language. Like they had no idea that Chadwick knew that, and it was
Wow.
so they're
So crazy.
actually like that's an actual real conversation. It's not made up. It's not fake. It wasn't scripted. It's just they actually had a conversation, and like when he comes and he talks to his dad, like it's a real conversation. And I was like, oh wow, that's kind of neat. So, anyways, I just wanted to pass that on because I found that and I thought it was kind of
That
neat.
is really, really
That is
important and it's
cool.
significant. That is very
Well,
significant.
I think it brings to highlight that, like they called the directors out and said, "Hey, if we're supposed to be
Hmm.
African, why are we speaking English? This is dumb."
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
they listened to them, and like you were saying, that representation matters, and I think that was important, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's it made an impact on me. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
Absolutely. These are facts that we learn here and we pass them on because we
Yeah.
want those of you who are watching to learn not just about sci-fi, but what goes into making these sci-fi so iconic and beautiful.
Mhm.
But let's definitely go on to our next one. Oh, the beautiful, the
Donna.
lovely Donna. Now, Donna's from Doctor Who, and during her time with the Doctor, she was not a mom. But when they came back again, she left the doctor. She married. She has a daughter, and she's raising this beautiful trans daughter. And she's so accepting and loving and encouraging as a mom that I felt
Mhm.
like she needs to be part of this lineup for sure. So Sarah,
Mhm.
give me your feedback on this beautiful woman.
Well, Donna is my all-time favorite companion just because she didn't put up with the doctor's crap and she didn't fall for him. I mean, she loved him like a friend, but she wasn't chasing him like that.
Hmm.
And I've been in relationships like that where I have friends that, we just have fun, and that's not
Hmm.
part of the equation. And I think that the way they represented her as a mother is exactly on par for Donna. I
Yes.
mean, she, was no nonsense and like, huh, okay, let's move on. Like, so I can envision her daughter coming to her and saying, hey, I'm trans. I want to be a girl. And she's like, okay, let's go on.
Me
Just
too. I totally can see that.
rolling with the punches. And that she was so supportive, and I mean,
Hmm.
she still lived with her mom too. I mean, that was
Yeah.
like they're still living with her mom. But, some family units work like that.
Yeah.
There are multiple generations in the same house. And I thought that was a nice representation for her.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, and I thought that was beautiful that they kept the family together,
Hmm.
because it is a type of representation. There are many families that live together, and that's a
Hmm.
beautiful thing. They support each other and they help each other out, and that's fantastic. Tiffany,
Hmm.
talk to me about Donna. I know
Donna,
you
like
want to.
like Sarah said, like Donna, Catherine Tatum, Donna Noble was like top tier, like companions for Doctor Who. Like after, especially during the reboot era of Doctor Who, when they had the other companions before her, like Martha and Rose. Like I feel like Donna was like the big sister. Like she was like,
Right.
oh no. We're not doing that. Why are we doing that? And I always calling him weird and telling him like, no, that's stupid. No, why are we doing this? Like she was always like the
She
keeping it
sure did.
real,
He calling on his
I
shit. Yeah.
keeping it
I
real,
like when she called him, "You're just too skinny."
right?
Skinny man.
Right, right.
What are you doing, skinny man?
And like when they brought her back for like the reunion episodes, like towards when they brought her and David Tennant back for those episodes, and I felt like we needed that extra part of her story because the way that it ended for her, it was just the
It was
worst. But
so
she was my
sad.
favorite, and it was the
Yeah.
saddest part. It was the saddest thing
And then
that
I
Yes.
I
yeah,
still cry every time I watch that
it's the
episode. I
saddest
bawl
thing
because they take that away from her
from
because she
her.
can't
Yes.
have it, and it's just
Yeah,
like
agreed.
my heart breaks for
And
her because it's
it
like
breaks for not only for her, but like for the doctor because she was like such an important part, as you see, like by her coming back into his life when he was
yeah,
regenerated again. Like it was
yeah.
like he
Hmm.
was a very important piece for him. And so like
Mhm.
I think that she did this role even before becoming a mom. She was his mom. She was like, no, we're not doing that. No,
Yep,
no,
Yeah,
not doing
and
absolutely.
and maybe he needed that. Maybe he needed a motherly figure
that. Yeah,
versus the sycophants. The girls that are always like, "Oh, I love him so much." I mean, yeah, the doctor's got it going on, but like,
Exactly.
they're
Can't
just
blame
dime a
them.
dozen. I know,
yeah.
but
He
I
did what he
can't. I
said,
can't.
but kind of like call him out on it, girl. Like that
Yeah.
was weird.
Hmm.
Let's tell him
Yep.
it was weird.
Yep.
Hmm.
Now, Ariel, I know you have mentioned that you are not fully caught up with Donna's story, but I don't know if you want to say something or not, or shall we move forward? You're about to
I
lose
will
your nerd
say,
card. You're about to lose your nerd card.
please, please, please. I will say two things because Doctor Who has been on my list for a long, long time. I will say two things. First of all, Donna is gorgeous, and I love a redhead.
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just love that for her. And second, I do love what I'm hearing about her. It sounded like she was very direct. And I
Yes.
Oh
always love
yeah.
seeing that in a woman.
Hmm.
Because we
Hmm.
all know we're socialized to keep it nice, something to
Hmm.
say,
Yes.
keep it polite, keep it,
Hmm.
so it sounded like she didn't take her foot off his neck. And I
No.
respect
For
that.
real. For real.
Yeah. No, she sure didn't. That's
yeah.
exactly what
She
she
was
did.
always, "Oi, spaceman!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of the
yeah,
best
yeah.
When she,
episodes.
Yeah.
when they brought her onto the show, my favorite moment was when you see that she gets, she finds out about this doctor, and then they come back, and she's got
Yeah.
all her luggage in the back trunk of her car. Talk about, oh, I'm ready to go with you. Let me get my luggage. She came
Yeah.
out with like three or
Man.
four pieces of luggage. Like she was ready. She
Yeah,
was
she's already
ready.
packed.
She was literally packed.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that. And it
Donna,
was so fantastic to see someone so willing to take this adventure, and
Hmm.
leave it to a woman to do that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be prepared. But let's move on to our next mom, who we should all be afraid of.
oh,
Oh
Sarah
yeah.
Connor, the Terminator mom, as I like to call her. Sarah, talk to me about Sarah Connor.
I saw Terminator. I saw the Terminators like when they came out, and I always thought that she was a little crazy, but a badass. I mean, I mean, she did what she needed to do, and then it just got. I mean, the whole thing gets weird. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey crap, and it gets weird. And I think she did the best she could with what she had, and I think that she prepared John as best as she could, and then
Hmm.
also like laid in supplies and all that for him for
Yeah.
later, like prepare like things that they didn't even know that she had done to that they used later in other movies because
Hmm.
plot holes, whatever. But all this work that she'd done, and it just if I knew what was coming and I had the opportunity to prepare, I would do all those things. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Yeah.
would
Yeah,
because
that's the thing with her. Like, she didn't do anything different than any mom has ever done. All moms
Mhm.
have done is prepare their children to be something great in
Yeah.
this
yep,
world, right?
Yeah.
yep,
And you give them everything, all the tools, you work with them, you meet them
yep,
at where they're at. But it's all about getting them to be better human beings, productive human beings, to contribute to society. And she knew what was going to happen to society. So she was
Right.
preparing a soldier, you know? She
yep.
absolutely
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Ariel, talk to me about Sarah Connor.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a badass. I think her transformation as a character was really interesting. You know, like she
Mhm.
started off as kind of like a server, you know, like regular
Mhm.
everyday person. And then she gets thrown into this world of like Terminator and Skynet and I feel for her in that way because it's like
Yeah.
she was both traumatized but also and paranoid. She was a little obsessed, but it's
She
like she
was.
was she was a little obsessed, but she was also very resilient at the same
Yeah.
time because she could
Mhm.
have caved under that knowledge, just like, well, I can't do anything, you know. But instead, she just became a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely have respect for her, although I'm a little scared. A little scared.
Yeah.
She is
Yeah. Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She
So,
She is.
definitely it's just
Yeah.
unrealistic, like for a mom to, like you said, go from like a waitress to like a hardened warrior. But it's not like honestly, like you said, if any mom was in that position, she'd be like, "Give me the gun, let me get my boy ready. We got to save the
absolutely.
Yeah.
world." Like first, you kind of be like, "What? Robot?" I mean, sure.
Killer robots at that. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
I mean, think
mean,
about it. Think about it. If you knew that your child would become this scientist or this doctor that would cure the most horrific disease that's currently happening, whichever that may
Right.
be, wouldn't you do everything in your power as a mom to give that child the leg up it needs to succeed and achieve that goal? She did nothing different than any other mom would have done.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
She just happens to be teaching him how to assemble weapons.
How to lead the world. How to lead the
Yeah.
yeah,
resistance. Mhm.
Hmm.
lead the resistance. Yep.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that that's something that you'll see throughout sci-fi moms is that it's not really about being anything other than just moms in a sci-fi
Mhm.
world where they're really just caring and preparing for someone to take over in a future um that's pretty powerful, you know?
Mhm.
Mhm.
And we
Mhm.
can go on to our next mom, and I love her. She is
Mhm.
like iconic. I absolutely fell in love with her in Deep Space Nine as Cassidy Yates, and I absolutely love her as Dr. Finn in the Orville.
Mhm.
Ariel, talk to me about this beautiful woman right here.
Yes, yes. So first, I have to say something about the bob. Okay, hello, the
Okay.
bob was there. She
Hello.
had the little, what do they call it? A little
Yes.
stripe, the little. Okay, so she gets that for me. But but yeah, I just another direct queen. Very much says it how it is. I really I appreciated her story about her motherhood and how she intentionally decided to be a single mother, and it
Yeah.
just wasn't a story that I've seen a lot of the time. So her deciding to be artificially inseminated, although some can argue it's a little controversial because who's the
Mhm.
father, and will the
Mhm.
sons, but I still think that it's important, for her to represent mothers who maybe are in a similar position. So that's really my takeaway from her. I also really loved, oh gosh, what was that scene where she was in Tafik? She was in like that Jello. what
Yeah.
what was that, like that green yellow Jello thing? I was like, what is happening here? But yeah, yeah, she gets my respect, and yes, the bob was
Yes.
always laid. So
Yes. Yes. Tiffany, What are your thoughts on this beautiful Dr. Finn?
Well, first of all, she had to like balance being a mom with like starship emergencies. Like,
Yeah.
How do
like
you even do that, right?
she was like, okay, well, let's do this, and
Gangster.
then we got to do this too, and then like I think that the one part of her story, like not only was she a mom and a doctor, but also they gave her like a romantic relationship that sometimes they don't give to the mom on the show, you know? And so I did like that part of it too, even though it was like a weird artificial life form, you know,
Yeah.
but you know, she had a romantic relationship. Okay. Moms need love too. Okay.
Hello.
And so I did like that they gave her a little boo. Okay. And yes, the bob is bobbing always.
Yes, absolutely. Sarah, let's talk about Dr. Finn's romance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love is
It's
love, Sarah. Love is love.
yeah. Yeah.
That's right.
That
We don't
doesn't
shame
that doesn't mean
anybody
I'm
here.
that doesn't mean I'm gonna be making out with my AI devices though. Yeah.
I don't
If
know. My
you love,
co-pilot's voice is on
if,
point. I don't know.
Oh,
listen, I turned my Alexa into an Australian man, and I'm just
yes.
saying, there's something to be said about Chris
I support
Hemsworth every
that.
time I call Alexa out. Okay.
I support that.
Um I think she was a good mom. I do think that I mean she had a pretty good balance, like Tiffany said, with the Starship emergencies and being a mom, but like
Mhm.
sometimes I kind of question some of it sometimes because like, well, I'm just going to be straight on task and I'm not going to worry about my kids. Like my kids will be fine. I'm like, I would always be worried about my kids, you
Yeah.
know, because that's all. I mean, that's part of being a mom. You're always going to be worrying
Yeah.
about your kids, you know,
But
like
could that be the starship mentality where these kids are trained to like go to the emergency spots if there's an emergency? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Like
yeah.
Hmm.
I
you
mean,
don't just put these families on starships. Could that be her training kicking in? Is my
Right. Like
question.
they
yeah,
got to.
and that's probably more likely because I mean here we live in the Midwest, so like we train for tornado drills, and like when I lived in California, we trained for earthquake drills. And I mean, I would assume that there would be some sort of personal safety, emergency crisis training to even be on the ship.
Hmm.
I know that we didn't see that much on like the Enterprise, uh, maybe because this is the same universe, sort of
Kind of,
different.
yeah.
That yeah,
Very true.
it's like
Yeah,
um,
very true.
that on the Orville that and especially with their captain and they were a little bit more
Yeah.
free and a little bit more down to earth, like more realistic. That they would
Yeah.
probably actually have that training.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but still, I mean, and being a mom in power, you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
she'd been doing it for a long time. She'd been married to, what was he, an admiral or something like that?
He eventually became an admiral. Hmm.
And then she just decided that, like, I'm done with your shit. I need to be on my own. Fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey.
and then when he came calling back around, she's like, yeah, we can have dinner, but yeah, no, we're not revisiting that. And I kind of I respected her for that. She stood her ground, and because sometimes
Yes.
they throw, oh well, a man comes in the picture and it's gonna save, he's gonna save the day, and she's like, yeah, you know what, I don't need you, thanks. And I mean, that
Exactly.
was one of the things that I did love about her.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love the fact that, like Tiffany said, they made this mom sexy. Like when she was
Mhm.
dressed up in that green outfit, I was like,
Oh yeah.
girl, you working that boots,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
boots.
They didn't give her the
She was working it.
traditional like, oh yeah, she's a mom and
Yes,
she's this nerdy doctor
It
lady,
wasn't
you know.
it wasn't
yes.
frumpy. Like her
Yeah.
uniform
No.
was a
Yeah.
uniform just like everybody else's, but like, sometimes they make moms frumpy, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Absolutely.
You know, the
Yeah. You're
messy
right. You're
bun
right.
and the sweat, like me right now.
Especially moms,
Me
my
too.
like it's not. It's
sweatpants, my sweatpants, and my messy bun. And I
Right.
mean, and while that can be attractive, most men, see that and go like, oh. I mean, but they didn't do that to her. They let her
Yes.
be sexy and be beautiful, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
Yes.
appreciate that.
And
Mhm.
she was
Mhm.
very well respected, which I liked.
Yes.
Mhm.
Everyone respected her thoughts and opinions, and there was a sense of trust with her. She earned it, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I love the way they wrote this character because they gave this woman a role that in a lot of sci-fis is played by a man, and she elevated that in a different kind of way. Like she was
Mhm.
willing to put everything out there for Topa. She was willing to make so
Yeah.
many sacrifices, and she had the support and respect of everyone on that ship with every decision she made. I mean, even when things started with Isaac and didn't kind of go that well in the beginning, everybody was on her side because they knew and respected this woman and knew that if
Mhm.
she had made that choice to be with this person, it was made it was a decision that was thoughtful. It wasn't just
Yeah,
instinct,
yeah, it
and I
wasn't just
love
for
the
the
fact that
moment.
they gave her like this full package kind of lady. She was
Hmm.
a full package kind of
Mhm.
lady. But let's move on to our next mom. You can't talk about Star Trek moms without talking about the sexiest, most iconic mom, Lexana Troy. I mean, she makes every man blush. Okay, I want the power to do that. Okay, I mean, she is my personal hero. I love her. I love her style of being a mom. I love her style of just being so direct and open. And because she's like that, I want to start with Sarah because Sarah has so many of her qualities, whether she sees it or not. She is so direct, so forward thinking. So we're going to start with you, Sarah.
Um, I liked her a lot. I mean, but I also, I mean, I sided with Deanna on some of the like, Jesus, she's overbearing.
Yeah,
But
she is overbearing.
um, because it's like it's so much all the time. Um, but she also was confident and sexy and assertive. Things
Mhm.
that and like we were just discussing with Finn, that those are things that they usually don't give moms. They're kowtowed behind a man or whatever, and she wasn't. She was out there. She was flamboyant. She was her own person. She did what she wanted, and she really didn't give a
Mhm.
fuck. I mean,
For real.
She surely
I mean,
did it.
I mean, she took care of her kid, and she loved her, and she just was she done her
Yeah.
time basically. I did my time as a mom, and I'll do what I need to do from time to time,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be my entire personality,
Right.
and I
Yeah.
kind of like that about her. That
Mhm.
sometimes I know Tiffany, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. We get wrapped up in being mom, and that's all we have time for, and we don't, we lose time for ourselves and who we are, and
Yeah.
it's like it's all about the kids all the time. But I like that she was able to. She's already done that time, so now she can just be herself.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
kind of
Absolutely.
looking forward to that later on.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ariel, what are your thoughts on Lexana Troy?
Yes, so Laksana, definitely a good mother, an overbearing mother at
Yes.
times, like when her and Deanna had that kind of, I guess, argument or disagreement about she was trying to push Deanna to get married, and she was like, "Well, that's when I became happy, when I had my kids and I got married." But other than that, overall, I did enjoy her character. I even like the way that she spoke. Like it was very just regal. Again,
Mhm.
this is a trend with me now. I'm going back to the fashions. Anything that reminds
Mhm.
me of Dynasty, anything that
Mhm.
reminds me of Bob Mackie, I'm
Yes.
for it.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I don't
Yeah.
have much else to say. Sarah really did
Yeah.
summarize her character pretty well.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
no,
ladies.
no, no, no. But yeah, she was awesome and
Absolutely.
iconic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
She had a way
Queen of the
about her.
Nerds. Yeah,
Yeah,
Queen of the Nerds.
yeah.
Talk to me
She
about
had a way
Loxana
about
Troy.
her. She had a way about her,
Yes.
like even when she got kidnapped, like she was just like, I'm gonna flirt my way out of it. I'm gonna make them feel.
Yes.
Yes.
They about to be embarrassed for even thinking I'm sad about being kidnapped. Okay, like
Never sweat. Never.
Here.
she like
That is so true.
turn the tables. You know how if you have a kid that's like really like hyperactive and you're like and the kidnapper's gonna get you, they gonna bring you right back. Like it's like
Yes.
that. Like
Crusher.
they got
Yes.
and they was like, whoa,
Yep.
wait a
She's the
minute.
kind of
So,
woman who could get herself out of a speeding ticket
Oh yeah.
yes,
easily.
yes,
Oh yeah.
Male or female
yes.
cop, but she'll get herself out. Like she is
Yes.
that sexy. Like she just
I
is, and
wanna
Yes,
she
grow up to be
knows
like
it.
her.
Yes, I want to
yes.
grow up to be like her. She is
Yeah, I'm
that
telling
sexy,
you.
and she knows she's sexy. She knows how to utilize what she has. And I love the fact that,
Mhm,
she didn't look like these typical Hollywood beauties. They allowed her to be this mature beauty. And I love that
mhm,
about her. I absolutely
mhm,
love it. Because I'm Star Trek TOS girly. So I remember her
mhm,
when she was Nurse Chapel. And that was a
mhm,
whole different character to see her now as Loxana Troy and see her flourish and be so sexy and be so
yeah,
in your face.
Command the room. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
That woman walked in a room and she sucked the life out of everything. Like she just took in the air. Like she was
Hmm.
awesome. I
mhm,
absolutely loved her.
mhm,
She did it in a way only moms could.
yeah, yeah.
That's a hill I'll die on. Only a mom can do and accomplish that kind of goal, you know?
Yeah.
But then we have the gentle beauty of Dr. Crusher. Tiffany, talk to me about Dr. Crusher and her parenting style.
Right. So for me, like I think that I don't know. I think for me with her, I think she doesn't parent the same way I would. I think she more like lets the kids, in my opinion, like lead her. And so, but I know I think she's a good mom, of course, of course. But even like when she came back in the Picard series, like
Hmm.
I don't know, skip me. Skip me in
No,
October.
no, no. Do it, girl. Bring it. Don't be
I
afraid.
just I
Not
just
here.
feel like some of those events wouldn't have occurred if she would have just like put her foot down on some things that were happening. Like
Hmm.
I think she should have like, and then
Yes,
some of the choices she made led to people being hurt in events. Like I think she made choices that I wouldn't have made as a mom,
yeah,
that she thought were in her kids' best interest or really weren't. So I
yeah.
just yeah. She's
I
she
hear
yeah.
you. Absolutely. I agree
Yeah.
with that with you. I think that she made choices with Wesley and with her, I
Hmm.
forget the other
With
son's
Jack.
name, with
Hmm.
Jack,
Jack.
thank you,
Jack. Okay.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
were questionable, but doesn't mean they were necessarily wrong. They were just,
Right.
would I have
Well,
made that choice being
Right.
in her
Exactly.
position?
Exactly.
It kind of
well, and it's
brings
like,
that question up.
Yeah.
and it kind of, it's like they were entirely two different parenting styles. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because, I mean, sh-
Yeah.
does she feel like she failed with Wesley? So that she
Yeah.
went a different direction with Jack. Um,
Maybe.
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 she kind of let Wesley have the reins, and then
Yeah.
Jack, it seemed like she kept much closer to the vest,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Because
kept
he was like a
him.
secret child.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, I mean, that was part of it. He had to be secret,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
they were badass smugglers, and they were smuggling
Hmm.
medicine and like
Yes.
Right.
and doing the things that made her happy. But she also, taught him some skills.
Hmm.
And I don't see that, Wesley, I think, turned out fine, but I also don't think that she had as much to do with him, if that makes sense, because
No, agreed.
he was off learning on the starship and running around the ship and
Hmm.
doing whatever, and
And
then
then became a
like
time traveler.
right,
Right.
Yeah.
and then but like Jack, she like kept him like right here and made sure that he was he's it just seemed like Wesley, she's like, yeah, okay, whatever, you'll be fine, the ship
Yeah.
will raise you, but like
Yep.
Jack was her responsibility. And
Oh,
then
he was full on her responsibility.
I right, because they lived in secret and all that, but I kind of feel like, and this is probably going to be a controversial take, that Jack is more of what her parenting style really is versus when she wasn't overworked on the Enterprise being the head
Mhm.
doctor and had all this stuff going on and was so busy all the time
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
didn't have time for her
absolutely.
kid, and then she actually
Well,
had time.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
anyway,
Now we got a couple of comments here. The first one I'm gonna put up, that's personal, but that's my baby. So I'm gonna
yeah,
put my cousin's son, that's my baby right there. Hey Jonathan.
Hi,
I had to put
Tiffany.
that up there because that's my
yeah.
boo right there. But
Mhm.
Mel from
That's
Mel's
sweet.
Rebellion says the way
Hello.
Beverly talks to Wesley reminds me of talking to my son. That's what I love about the writing of Beverly's character, that we may not
Mhm.
necessarily have taken that path in
Mhm.
parenting of letting
Yeah.
the child lead, because I think Tiffany was right. When it came to Wesley, she let him lead.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but she definitely had a way of talking to him that was so amazing. And I think that Wesley needed that because Wesley was so mature and so really above where he should have been, that he needed someone to allow him to grow. While Jack needed more of a parent on him. I
Mm,
think that
Mhm.
with Jack
Mhm.
is where she dropped the ball. I think she needed to be harder on Jack because Jack grew up a little bit tougher environment
Yeah.
that Wesley did.
And I
Yeah.
Ariel,
just
I
thought
don't
of
know if
something.
you. Oh, go ahead.
Do you think that the reason Beverly and Wesley's relationship was the way it was is because they trauma bonded?
Mhm.
Maybe.
Mhm.
that's a good point.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because there
She
was
was
all these things that
making
they
up for
couldn't
the
talk.
loss of the dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I mean,
Yeah.
and
What do you
trying not
think,
to.
Ariel?
I think that that could be very much what was happening. I mean, she was wrecked after the loss of her
Mhm.
husband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think it's
he lost his dad,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
because we never saw what they were like when they were a whole family, and then maybe his dad had more control in the raising of Wesley because he's a boy, so let him take the lead,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
Mhm.
yeah.
I
And
just
Yeah.
I just thought about that because that
Yeah.
was something
Absolutely.
that she
Yeah.
didn't have with Jack. That was an entirely different dynamic with Jack, and maybe that's why it was a different dynamic
yeah.
because there wasn't
Agreed.
this shared
Mhm.
trauma that they had to like put in a box and not talk about,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, and work
Yeah.
around.
So
Anyway,
we're gonna
go
go
ahead.
Yeah.
to our next and last mom. And Ariel, after our next one, has a few honorable mentions that we're gonna allow her to bring up.
Real
But
quick.
we have I love her parenting style. I think the fact that she's an empath makes her so sensitive. What do you think, Ariel?
Yeah, so Deanna, I mean, yes, her empathy is great, and I think that I actually don't know too much about her parenting. I know more about
That's so
her
good.
mom.
That's so good.
Ooh,
Mhm.
sorry,
Mhm.
but she's
That's
fast.
Mhm.
She's
okay.
fast,
That's
and I
okay.
like that she has that. Is it telepathy? I like that she
Yeah.
has that power, and she was
Yeah.
like the counselor or something on the ship, right? So it's like she
Mhm.
automatically probably has like those good like active listening skills that a
Yeah.
mother should
Mhm.
have. So
Yeah. What do you think, Tiffany?
Yeah, I mean I agree. She was a good mom. I think just because she did have that like empathetic, like emotional intuition that she could tap into. I know that like from what I can remember from the Picard series, I know that her and Riker there was a whole thing with their one of their kids or something like that. I can't really put my
Yeah,
finger on it. It was like minor, but maybe
their
part of the story.
their boy died because he needed a neural implant to balance something in his brain,
Right.
but the
Okay.
implants had all been outlawed because of the android rebellion or whatever.
Yes.
So they
Right.
couldn't
Right.
save
Right.
him.
And I
Yeah, and
think
then the
that
girl is
series,
still there.
I know that her, like, you could tell, like, she, at this actress, she acted that part so well, like, you felt like she actually lost a son, and that
Yes, right?
there was actually this missing
Yeah,
piece to her because she was so different than she was, on the Enterprise, now
right.
living, on this planet, missing a part of her. So I think
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
that part of her character really touched me when she played it that way.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, what are your thoughts on Deanna's parenting?
I think that she and Riker made good parents, and I think that she, like Tiffany said, that she really showed that, you know, that you carry that grief with you, but you still have to
mhm,
continue on because you have another child to raise,
mhm,
and
mhm.
you can't just let go and go hide in a hole. You have to, you have to provide for your other child and keep them
Yeah,
healthy and happy and
yeah,
whole,
Yeah,
or as best as you can. And I think that that was portrayed. I think that if they tried to do this story when Next Gen was on, it wouldn't have flown. I
agreed.
think that we've come forward enough that we can show these kinds of stories, you
yeah,
know, the loss of a child, the loss of a partner. I mean, because they didn't even show, like with Beverly, they didn't even show, and I mean, they mentioned Jack a couple times, like, oh, she's a widow,
yeah,
and that was it. But like,
yeah.
they didn't like
I agree.
actively address her grief, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And
No, yeah,
we
agreed.
we just put it in a
Absolutely.
box and don't talk about it. But like
Yeah.
mhm,
with this, they talked about it, and they brought him. They kept their child. They kept their son alive by talking about him. And the daughter spoke in a language that she and her brother had made, and she played a game
mhm.
that she and her brother had made, and it was more like how, I mean, I've recently lost a sibling, so I understand what that feels like, and
Yeah,
like trying to keep somebody with you, and that trying to keep a grasp on it, and it slowly slips away over time, but it's still, I understand, like, the way that she was portrayed was beautiful. I think they hit that nail on the head this time.
yeah,
And
Oh, absolutely agree with you.
sometimes they miss it by a mile, and it doesn't feel icky, but it doesn't fit. But this one, it fit, and I think
Yeah.
she did really well.
Yes. Now, Ariel has come with some few honorable mentions that I
Okay.
think are pretty great. So go on ahead, Ariel. Tell us about
Yes.
your honorable mentions.
Yes. So my first one is Queen Hippolyta, Wonder Woman's mom. Okay.
mhm.
Yes.
Queen of the Amazon. Been ruling the Amazon for 3,000 plus years. Okay.
And looks
She,
good at 3,000.
yeah,
Yeah,
very, very nice. She's kept it
right.
together.
Period.
Okay.
For real.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, she's just an icon. And
Mhm,
I think her story really it's a really good commentary on, obviously we exist in a world with men and women, but it's just like when they went to Themyscira, like, or when they were created there, and sorry, I'm rambling. When they were
No.
at the island planet, it was just the fact that it was all women,
mhm,
and Ares was the reason why the man's world was in such war.
mhm.
Mhm.
And I just really liked seeing women rule things
Yeah.
and do the thing. So she's awesome. She's always an icon. I think she
Mhm.
was first introduced like in the 1940s, so like
Yes.
in the comics. So that's my first
Mhm.
honorable mention. And very quickly, my second one, this might be a little left field, and she might not even fully fit into sci-fi, but Molly Weasley from Harry Potter.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
love her.
You know what I'm
Isn't she
saying?
awesome?
mhm, mhm. Not
Like,
my daughter, you bitch.
not
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, she
Mhm.
got her out the way. Okay, because I never forgave
Telling you.
Helena's
I'm
character
telling
for,
you.
for getting rid of Sirius Black. Like, and I was like,
I'm
she got to be handled. And when Molly Weasley handled her, I've just always loved her. Ever
mhm.
since I think like the first scene that you see Ron and the family,
Yeah,
like she's just like
yeah,
Elastigirl. She's
Yeah.
stretching herself all over
Yep.
the place,
Yep.
and
yeah,
yeah, she's awesome.
yeah.
Um, I think I'm gonna
Yeah. I
rewatch
love
Harry
the fact
Potter
that
pretty soon.
she I love the fact that she embraced Harry as one of her
Mhm.
own
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just like, oh, another kid. Okay.
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 another kid.
Yeah, my
He
mom will
was
always
into her.
say, like, if we would have friends over, because there's five of us, she'd always say, I don't care, one more, I'm not even gonna notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, I don't even, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
won't
And if
notice that
each
one.
of you brought one friend, that would make 10 of you.
And she still wouldn't notice.
She
She's like,
never
it's
Yeah.
know.
loud already. It's just gonna keep being loud.
Real.
Absolutely. So
Hmm.
we're going to
Perfect.
move on to our segment portions of the evening. And this time we're going to start with Tiffany. So, all right. Take it away, Tiffany.
All right, what do I have first? Black Mirror. All right, so this is what I watched last week. I wasn't on the show last week, so I had to bring this one in. But the new season of Black Mirror, if you haven't watched any Black Mirror, you can watch the season standalone, or you can start from the beginning. If you like this kind of sci-fi genre bending, because there's like so much, like there's like horror elements. There's of course lots of sci-fi. Everything is rooted in futuristic technology and things that could be like. There's an episode where she's watching Netflix. I think this was last season, and then she becomes her life is Netflix or something like that. It was
Yes,
like
I love
crazy.
that. I love that one.
It was crazy. And then it was like people was watching her life. Like it was insane. And she was watching it too. And it was like happening in real time. It was like crazy. But the new season, one of the episodes is a callback to a previous season episode. They usually don't do that because each episode is standalone. But this season, one of the episodes was a callback to the Star Trek element, Star Trek esque episode from last, I think, 2 seasons ago. But it was so good. I watched this season in one night. It was
Oh
Ooh.
my goodness.
so
I
good.
haven't finished it yet.
You haven't
I
done
gotta get with it. I gotta get
so
with it.
good. It was so good. Like I thought I was behind. I was like, I gotta catch up. But it was, yeah, it was good. I think they brought something fresh. It's easy to have repeats in a show like this, but I think they brought something fresh to each episode and the characters and all of that. So it was good. All right, next. New season of Doctor Who started in April. This season is so different than the others, though. Okay, so for me, it feels like fresh. Like it's so easy with Doctor Who. I know you haven't started watching yet, Ariel, but it's so easy to feel repetitive, especially when they bring back some of the old villains. But this
Mhm.
season and last season feel fresh, and this one more than ever, because they're showing new elements of the Doctor. Like we never saw them changing their clothes in every era they go to, but in this season, like one of the quirks is they change their clothes in the different eras. Like that's one of the fun things about it. Like this Doctor is loves to change his outfits. Most of them keep pretty much the same outfit the whole time. Like it's
Right.
crazy. They
They're
wear the same
uniform.
thing. But
Oh, I
he
like
Yeah.
No
changes his
that.
matter where
outfit.
they go, no matter where they go,
Yes.
they got the same
He
outfit.
changes his outfits. And one of the things I noticed about him is like almost every episode he sheds a single tear. And it's so emotional. Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
He is just he feels it so much for each one of these like humans or aliens. He feels it so much. And I think Shuti Gabwa is an amazing actor. He brings it to this.
I
He
love him.
brings it. And the new companion too, she's amazing. But yeah, the season is ongoing now and you can watch it on Disney Plus. Amazing. Okay. All right. Did I have another one? Or is that me? That it for me?
Yes,
All right.
you got one
Last
more.
one. Last one. Love, Death, and Robots. The new season of this is coming on May 15th. And this is one of my favorite little anthology series to watch because the episodes are kind of quick. Like Black Mirror, all the episodes I think are like an hour, but the episodes are quick. Like some of them are 7 minutes, some of them are nine. Like they're very quick, like short episodes that you can watch. And it's sci-fi, but it blends the genres. Like there's sci-fi and horror, there's fantasy, there's like dark comedy ones, some that look more like gaming. Like there's different like elements. And so, and if you like this, the creators of this have another show. Forget the name of it, but it's on Amazon Prime and it's more about gaming. It's like geared towards all
Ooh.
gaming, like
Oh
like
yeah,
they
the
have one
gaming
Level
one.
episode.
up. It's called Level Up.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
level
They
up.
have one episode that's like Pac-Man, but like scary.
Yes,
Ooh,
yes,
ooh,
Yes,
I
it's
like
so good.
that.
Those episodes are also short, like 10 minute, 11 minute. Like it's like, and they have an amazing voice cast. I think like Keanu Reeves was one of the voice cast, like amazing.
Oh,
But yeah,
that's
so
my
new
man.
season of this, and this is on Netflix, so you can catch up if
yes.
you want to
Isn't
watch it.
that I absolutely love the selection for sure. We're gonna move on to Sarah's segment and we're gonna learn about an awesome real scientist. Take it away, Sarah.
Okay, Mary Corina Putnam Jacobi was an English American physician, teacher, scientist, writer, and suffragist. She was the first woman admitted to study medicine at the University of Paris and the first woman to graduate from a pharmacy college in the United States. Dr. Jacobi was born in 1842 in London, England, to American parents. She and her family returned to the United States in 1848, and she grew up in New York. She studied under Dr. Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to receive a medical degree from Geneva Medical College in 1849. Attended lectures at the New York Medical College and studied anatomy. In 1861, Dr. Jacobi became the first woman to earn a degree from the New York College of Pharmacy. She entered the female, later Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania in October 1863, and after some conflict with the dean over the fulfillment of graduation requirements, Dr. Jacobi graduated in the spring of 1864. Her thesis was written entirely in Latin, a great feat even back in the mid 19th century, and certainly uncommon. It is titled Theory on the Function of the Spleen, or um, Thero ad lineas officium, and can still be viewed online today. After graduating from the Female Medical College, Dr. Jacobi worked for a brief time at the New England Hospital for Women and Children, and then set off for Paris, where she finally gained entrance to the elite medical school there. In order to further her studies, she was the first female student accepted into the school and graduated in 1871. She then returned to the United States and opened her own medical practice in New York. In 1872, Dr. Jacobi became the first woman to gain membership in the Academy of Medicine and also organized the Association for the Advancement of the Medical Education of Women, of which she was president from 1874 to 1903. For most of their lives, women experienced menstruation. Throughout history, it's been argued that the biological fact makes women unfit to do things like go to space, run for political office, or run for political office. In the 1870s, she made the case that it shouldn't stop women from going to college. Harvard University awarded her the Bolison Prize for her essay, The Question of Rest for Women During Menstruation. Her essay argued against the belief that women were limited physically during menstruation and provided scientific evidence to support her statements, including data on pulse rate and other statistics concerning the stability of women's health, strength, and agility throughout their monthly cycle. In 1886, she opened a children's ward at the New York Infirmary. After being diagnosed with a brain tumor, Jacobi documented her symptoms and published a paper on the subject titled Descriptions of the Early Symptoms of a Meningeal, I can't say this word, meningeal tumor compressing the cerebellum, from which the writer died, written by herself. She died from that brain tumor in 1906. She is interred at Greenwood Cemetery in Brooklyn, New York, and she was inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame in 1993.
Wow.
Well
She's
deserved.
crazy. I mean, she's amazing, and I mean, I kind of, like when I was doing the research on her, there was a lot of, I mean, and if you go back and look, there was a lot of myth around our
Yeah,
monthly cycles, and like we had to
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
infirm, and we couldn't work, we couldn't
she
go to
did all
school, we
that.
couldn't do all these things, and then that prevented us from being on the same level as men.
Mhm.
But like she put her foot down and did
Yeah,
provided medical research that y'all are crazy and this is what's really going on.
and she also
So we
had
can,
three.
I
She
mean,
had three kids while doing all of this.
huh?
Yeah.
She also had 3 kids while doing all of that. Because like
Yep.
when you put her in the say you're gonna talk about her, I was like, I gotta look it up. I always look up
Yeah.
scientific. You know, I love me a
And she
note.
was a mom.
Yeah.
She was a mom, a
And she was a mom
scientist.
too. Yeah.
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 And she still
True
managed to do all that.
scientist.
And it's kind of the thing that kind of gets me is that she documented her own death.
That
I'm
Yeah.
like,
like
Yeah.
Okay, that was
and
creepy.
Yeah.
That was
I
so
mean,
creepy.
true
but think
scientist.
about how much she advanced the science though,
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Yeah.
because she documented the symptoms and like how her brain was working, and then like anything like that got weird, she would write that
Mhm.
down.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
maybe her writing changed, all that. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so
Before
there
Yeah,
we
she
go, I
was.
wanted to bring one more
absolutely.
sci-fi mom that is not talked about enough.
Go ahead, girl. Go
in
ahead.
the
Bring
in,
it.
in Star Trek in the newer Kelvin timeline when James T. Kirk was born, that changed
Mhm.
everything. That was the difference between the Kirk of the Prime timeline and the Kirk of the Kelvin timeline was his
Yes.
birth. Like his mom changed the way he was born, changed the character. So I want to bring
Yeah.
his
Absolutely.
mom up
Yes.
because
Who
him being
giving birth
born
in a shuttlecraft?
right, him being born in a shuttle and losing his dad changed who he became. I mean, not who he
Right.
became
Mhm.
essentially, but like how he grew up and how
Yeah,
the character
absolutely.
acted different than the Kirk of the Prime timeline.
Yeah,
Where
because
he got to
wasn't
grow up with
wasn't
his
Yeah.
dad and all of that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
wasn't he born in Iowa, and
yeah,
like he
yeah,
was
yeah,
born
yeah.
on Earth?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
born on
Exactly.
Earth. Yeah, and his
Yeah.
dad got to see him go off into Starfleet, join Starfleet.
Yep.
Versus in the
Yeah.
Kelvin, where his dad saved all those people's lives, and his mom was giving birth to him while leaving because they were on their way to a base, and then the whole, all the Vulcan incident, all that stuff, all that
Yeah.
good, Kelvin
Craziness.
timeline drama. But yeah, I wanted to bring
Exactly.
her up because I just thought it was so interesting. They made that the pivotal moment, his birth, like how he was born was different. That's what changed the
Yep.
timeline, like eventually. So
Oh,
yeah,
Yep.
yes, absolutely. That is an excellent mention for sure. And I think that, yeah, giving birth in a shuttle was not
give it
Mhm.
easy.
up,
She had none of
give
the
it up.
Hardcore.
comforts of modern medicine.
No, she was
Hardcore.
That
just
was
in there.
old school birth. That
Her
was
man
old
was
school
dying. Her
birthing.
man was dying, and she was like, she like, "Where my husband?" They like, "Nah, baby, your
Yeah.
husband is saving us. Push this baby out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Push this baby out."
Yes. Absolutely. I just want to say one more time, Happy Mother's Day weekend to all the moms out there.
Yeah.
And before we go, I'm going to let you guys know when our next episode will be. It's going to be all about Tiffany bringing up the latest and greatest sci-fi TV and movie. And that's going to be May 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tiffany's going to bring it. She is your digital
I
TV
got
guy for
a
science
long
fiction.
list, y'all. I got a long list. Have your post-it notes and notebooks ready. I have a long list of
She
TV
gonna
and
make me
movies.
work. She gonna make me work. But it has been fantastic. Thank you, Ariel, for being here with us. We've
Oh, of
enjoyed you
course.
so much. You are welcome at the Sci-Fi Queens anytime, girl.
Oh, I'd love to be back.
Anytime.
I'd
Oh,
love to be
we
back.
got you coming back. You
I'm
coming back.
coming. I'm here. You guys got me.
Don't say that to me.
You
Don't
locked
say that
in
to
now.
me.
No, I'm serious. I had such a great time. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And I learned stuff
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. We have fun. We learn. We teach.
Listeners.
We're just nerding out. That's what it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
But thank you everyone for watching, for the comments, and know that this episode will be on Spotify tomorrow morning when I post it there, and I do it very early, so by the time you all get up, it will be there.
Mhm.
But thank you so much, and we see you on May 16th. Okay. Good night, and thank you. Thank you for watching the Sci-Fi Queens, and be sure to support us on all our social medias and check out our website